This is the best view of Lynchburg, Tennessee, from a rocking chair high atop Barbecue Hill. Now, they make something very special and unique down there. This is the home of Jack Daniels, a Tennessee whiskey. On Some Assembly Required, we wanted to find out what makes a whiskey a Tennessee whiskey. How's it different from, say, a Kentucky bourbon or some whiskey that's manufactured somewhere else in the world? We have to tell the story of this. We've got to start with the barrel.
Because for Jack Daniel's Black Label and all of its labels, this is where the flavor starts. Jack Daniel's Cooperage. It's a place where barrels are made. This one's in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's one of the largest in the world, rolling out 2,200 barrels a day. 600 tons of white oak arrive here daily, pre-cut into individual staves. Now, after the staves are dried for at least 6 months, they're sent to workers like Tommy Hornback, who will shape them properly for the barrel makers.
These are not all the same size when they come to us. They're irregular, like that. And they're not properly beveled on the ends. You got to kind of turn it into this. And now I'm going to try to do this without cutting my arms off. That wheel makes me a little nervous.
It's nervous.
But you get used to it, obviously. Yeah. So I go ahead and push it in? Right?
Well, close enough.
So you're basically just dealing with the wood as it comes to you. An assortment of big ones and little ones. And you just use a mixture to build the barrel.
That's right.
There are 33 staves involved in raising a barrel. Melissa here is such an expert, she can pick 33 of these staves from this pile, just by sight, and know exactly how to fit them together. But the objects here don't let the whiskey leak.
Melissa Capel will assemble, or as they say at the cooperage, raise no less than 260 barrels by the end of an 8-hour shift.
I don't even know where to start, Melissa.
The easiest way to do it is to do like too little, too wide, too little, like these.
These good?
Yeah.
You like these? I don't know how you know that.
Are you counting them as you go?
Am I counting them as I go? No, I'm not. Okay, 1, 2.
You got 22.
I've got 22 so far. I need 33.
Yep. I would do 2 wide ones.
2 wide ones. So this is where it gets kind of critical when you're putting in the last staves in the barrel.
Then you just want to find one that'll fit down in there. Try that.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know how you just did that. There are thousands of pieces of wood here. She just looked at this one and said, that one. That's impressive.
Once they're placed inside the head ring at the base, the staves are secured with temporary hoops, and then they're sent on their way to take the shape of a barrel. A steam shower softens the oak so the staves will bend easily inside the barrel shaping machine known as the Buffalo.
The first stage here installs a second set of rings around the barrel. The second stage spins the barrel to true up all the staves so they meet one another perfectly. And the third stage pushes the rings on so hard that when it's done, the tension in each ring is about 10 tons. And that crushes the wood together and creates a perfect seal.
Next, the barrels move along to one of the most important steps in making Tennessee whiskey, charring the oak.
Wow, it is getting hot in here. Getting out of here. Tennessee whiskey has to be aged in these charred white oak barrels. That is hot. Wow.
Here's how this works. Each barrel straddles a gas burner, which then shoots a flame through the center of the barrel, charring the inside. Water then sprays up through the hole to stop the wood from burning.
Ah, fresh, charred, white oak barrel. Mike, how long does it take to char a barrel?
23 seconds.
23 seconds. Now, what if you leave it in too long?
Jack will accept them, but it does make the char deeper. Jack don't like a deep char.
Jack ain't nothing without a good char, because charring has as much to do with flavor as it does with color.
We're like toasting a marshmallow here.
Exactly. I mean, it's perfect because there's a lot of sugars in the wood. And when you heat them up nice and hot, they turn into these caramel, toffee, butterscotch flavors like a toasted marshmallow. And over the seasons, as the whiskey's aging in this, the pores in the wood open and close, and they sort of draw the liquid in, put it out, in, out, and the flavors leak into the whiskey. And about half the flavor of the finished whiskey came from the wood. And all the color came from the tannins in the wood.
But without the barrel, we would never have that real Tennessee whiskey flavor, would we? Well, now with the critical step of this charring complete for our barrels, they're going to move on down the line where they'll put heads on these barrels in permanent hoops. These are temporary. They'll move even further on to inspection, and we're getting very close to putting whiskey in our barrels.
We're almost there, but the two heads, or ends, get cut, fashioned, and charred the same way the rest of the barrel does. Now, to seal the heads to the barrel, they're rolled in beeswax, which acts as an airtight sealant between the heads and the staves. Because the heat from charring shrinks those staves, tighter steel hoops are attached, and finally, our barrels move on down the line.
Time now to drill a hole in this through which we'll pour our whiskey. It's called a bung hole, and that's what this machine does. It's called a bunger. Oh, yeah, it's good bung hole.
This is David Johnson. He's the bunger man.
This is where you whack your...
Yeah.
You whack the bung hole?
Yeah.
Or whack the bung?
There you go.
Okay. So the bung's good. Tightly fitted in the bung hole. Stick this in the bung, right?
Yeah.
It's a rubber bung.
After that, that's going to supply your
It's going to put a gallon of water in.
Yeah.
Is that enough to really test to see
Yes,
that
it
they're
is.
leak-proof?
Okay.
The barrel is injected with a mixture of water and pressurized air. This will expose any potential leaks by forcing water between the staves.
Oh, man, I hate when my bung hole does that.
After these barrels go through a final inspection, the ones that don't leak are loaded onto trucks bound for Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Well, all this work and we only got a barrel. Where we're headed next? The distillery. It's there we're going to find out what makes Tennessee whiskey so different from any other whiskey. Well, we're on our way to actually see the water from which they make Jack Daniel's whiskey, from the water which they've always made it and always will be. And we have the honor of being with the master distiller, Jimmy Bedford, who you're really only the 6th master distiller that Jack Daniel's has
That's
ever had.
true.
Is that correct?
Jack Daniel being the first one, and I'm the 6th one.
In the 1860s, Jack Daniel's set up his distillery here in Lynchburg because of the purity of the water in this natural cave spring.
What's the temperature? Is that
56 degrees. It'll run that way year-round.
It's a hard water. Although it's mineral-free in the sense it doesn't have iron in it, it's got a lot of calcium in it. The limestone is washing along in the water, and that adds a flavor to it.
You know, the only thing that would make this water taste better is if it were just all whiskey coming out of that cave.
Each day, 300,000 gallons of water flow from the cave spring to the distillery, where it meets up with the other main ingredients.
These trucks roll in here 24/7, bringing in these raw materials. This happens to be barley malt. Now, the mixture that Jack Daniel's uses is 80% corn, 8% rye, and 12% barley malt.
All these grains are ground and mixed together with cave water, creating what's known as mash. Now, this mash is heated to break down the starches in the grains, turning them into sugar. Jack Daniel's also adds 20% of something called sour mash, leftovers from the previous batch of fermented mash. Sour mash helps maintain the consistency of flavor from batch to batch. Now, we're ready to mix the mash with yeast to make alcohol, a process known as fermentation.
In goes our mash into these 40,000-gallon fermenting tanks. And basically what they can do here at Jack Daniel's is just hook into their piping system up here, and they start filling. How long will this take to fill, Kevin?
Each mash cooker takes 20 minutes to pump out. We have 4 mash cookers, so it'll be about an hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes. All right.
Then we'll swap this line over to the next fermenter and just keep going. At the bottom of the fermenter, the yeast has already been pumped in there. You can smell that yeast, see that very fruity smell?
Yeah.
That is a highly active yeast ready to start consuming the sugars that are the fermentable sugars that are in this mash.
At this point, it would be sweet, wouldn't it? I mean, if we were to taste this.
Yes, this is a very sweet. What we do is in the mashing process.
It's like cornmeal at this point. It's good.
It takes 4 to 7 days to ferment the mash. During that time, the yeast converts the sugars into alcohol, giving off carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Once the mash is fermented, we'll separate the alcohol from the grains, and that means distillation.
Well, Jimmy Bedford and I, the master distiller here at Jack Daniel's, are in the distillation room. And this is really where our mash mixture, the sour mash, the yeast, and all that water really start to look like alcohol. This is the still that goes all the way up.
About 60 feet tall.
About 60 feet.
Up in there.
Layers of trays are stacked inside this still.
17 trays.
17.
The fermented mash makes its way back and forth across these trays, and as it does, the alcohol vaporizes from the heated mash and collects in the top of the still. Then it passes through a series of coils which cool and condense the vapor into liquid. Now, the result is 140 proof natural grain alcohol flowing at the rate of 60 gallons per minute.
If we were to put this in barrels the way it is right there, that would be an ordinary whiskey, wouldn't it?
Yes, it wouldn't be a Tennessee whiskey.
It would not be a Tennessee whiskey. But so in order for it to qualify as Tennessee whiskey, we're going to add a step here.
One step.
And it's that step that makes Jack Daniel's a Tennessee whiskey and not a Kentucky bourbon. This distinction in flavor is gained through a filtering process known as charcoal mellowing. And to do that, we got to make some charcoal.
Well, Jerry Hamilton is a production manager here, and we're really entering, and the name is on the building, the rick yard. These are our ricks.
These are the ricks. And what we're going to do is we're going to let these ricks, we'll bring them on the premises, and we'll keep them here for about 6 months. And at the end of the 6 months, they're about ready to burn.
We could use lighter fluid, but that would pollute the whiskey, so instead we're gonna light this stuff with 140 proof Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey.
This would actually be not a bad way to light your own charcoal, wouldn't it? Put some whiskey on it?
That's right.
Instead of using charcoal lighter?
Yeah, just use Jack Daniel's.
Use JD.
Kind of expensive.
It would be a little expensive, wouldn't it?
These ricks burn for about 45 minutes. All I'm missing here is a hot dog and a stick.
Right now, we're making charcoal. And the way that I know that we're making charcoal is the fire has virtually died.
You know how I know we're doing it?
How's that?
It's like standing on the sun.
Well, this is a reminder of what it's going to be like in the hereafter.
What are you presuming about me, Jerry? So do I hit that?
Yep.
So what we're just trying to do here is make sure that our charcoal stays charcoal and not a big pile of ash, because you can't filter whiskey through ash. basically, I have to keep this pile as black as possible, and wherever any white embers start coming up, I gotta douse them, quick.
Once the charcoal cools, it's ground into smaller pieces and then poured into 10-foot deep charcoal mellowing vats.
Jerry, I noticed something about this room in which we do the charcoal mellowing, that it's very mellow in here. I mean, it's kind of like...
It's a very mellow plant.
Down here, down below, is where you really see the bulk work of these mellowing vats. How many are down here, Jerry?
There are 60 of them.
So this is where you're going to drain off what has been mellowed? Is that right?
Charcoal mellowing improves the flavor of whiskey the same way that a water filter takes tap water and cleans up the off flavors. Basically, there's tremendous surface area in this charcoal. It's very porous. There are actually square miles of surface, and certain molecules stick to that surface, and those are the off flavors of whiskey. So by the time the whiskey's dripped through this entire 10 feet of charcoal, the off flavors are gone, and all you have is clean, clear whiskey.
The mellowing is complete, and finally, Sean Sullinger and I are gonna put the alcohol into our charred oak barrels.
All right. Now you gotta just spin the barrel back.
Spin the barrel, shove it down in there.
Yep. Into the bone.
And then hold it and hit the red button.
Hit the red button.
Yep.
Let go.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Magic moment. We're finally putting our whiskey into our barrels, the barrels we made up in Louisville, Kentucky. Oh, yeah. Sometimes these bones don't fit down in the hole so good.
Well, sometimes the holes are drilled different. That's a small bung hole.
Yeah.
You just really gotta feed it in.
You just gotta have your way with the bung hole. You just gotta really just slap it real hard. Yeah. Okay. We're ready to roll these out.
Like wine, whiskey's gotta age. So each day they ship the barrels to one of the many warehouses in this county, which is, ironically, a dry county. Now, collectively, these warehouses hold up to 1.8 million barrels. Yes, there are 90 million gallons of whiskey in them thar hills. And it's Benny Reese's job to stock all those barrels.
So what's the motto here, Benny?
We keep things rolling.
All right.
All you gotta do is hit your lever.
Down?
Up, down. But see, I'm not gonna do it all for you. That's to hold that barrel steady.
Yeah.
Now, get your other hand.
Right here.
Yeah, hit it up, just one time.
So my motto is just keep it rolling some of the time.
Okay. Pull it up. I'm gonna cut it straight off onto this pan. There it is, at the top.
Okay, good. All right, so we gotta let this sit for 4 years.
Yes,
Should we
sir.
go have a really long lunch?
Jack Daniel's whiskeys mature 4 to 7 years, depending on the label. Now, during that time, seasonal temperature changes causes the barrels to expand and contract, allowing the whiskey to flow in and out of the cracks in the charred oak. As the whiskey does that, it picks up its characteristic color and much of its flavor. Now, Jack Daniel's is matured properly when and only when Master Distiller Jimmy Bedford gives his blessing.
All right, now you've got, your sample.
Now, I'm not allowed to drink this here. Is that right?
Well, right.
That's the
we
law.
can smell of it and
Just wanted to see what... Boy, that smells good.
I'd like for us to make here. Every bit of that color comes from that white oak barrel.
What do you know about that whiskey right there that you're smelling?
First
right
of all,
away?
when we first got it out, we could see that it had matured with the color to it. But then when you smell of it and pick up that toasted oak, caramel, vanilla aroma there, then you know it's going through the maturing process.
Boy, it's just a shame that we can't just take a drink right here, isn't it?
For real, I'm not allowed to drink it.
Now, years ago, we got a kill. Years ago.